fastest growing ethnicity in the United States is the Asian American community. More than 17 million people today identify themselves as Asian Americans. Hello and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Tiffany McElroy. Joining me is Mee Moua, President and Executive Director of the Asian American Justice Center. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
First off, can you tell me about your organization and what it does?
The Asian American Justice Center is a member of the Center for Advancing Justice, and we are one of the oldest civil rights and human rights organization representing the Asian American community.
Speaking of Asian American community, I think sometimes people aren't sure. Tell me, who the broad population of the Asian American community is.
I've been asked that question a lot this month. When we talk about the Asian American community, we're talking about the East Asian community, the Southeast Asian community, the South Asian community, the Arab, Muslim, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander communities.
So it goes a long ways, right? And this month is Asian American Heritage Month. And tell me why this particular month this year is very significant.
For our organization, usually Asian American Heritage Month is an opportunity to really talk about the challenges and opportunities that our community are grappling with. This year in particular is the 30th anniversary of the Vincent Chin beating in Detroit. You may recall that it is an incident involving an Asian American person who basically was being beaten up because of the anger with respect to the recession at that time. And the irony of it for our organization is that we were founded as a consequence of the Vincent Chin beating to do work around human rights and civil rights.
Since that 30 years ago, horrible incident, is that something that is still prevalent 30 years later in the Asian American community?
Well, unfortunately, we still continue to have to address those issues. It goes in successive cycles. So post 9/11, the South Asian and particularly the Asian American community have had to encounter a lot of anti-Asian hate crimes. And then more recently, there's been a couple of cases involving Asian Americans in the military where we believe that hate crimes were involved in those beatings.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because you would think in the armed forces, everybody's American, we are a team, that there shouldn't be something like this going on. Is it racism? Or is it hazing? What can you tell us about these two cases?
Yeah, absolutely. I think most of the military leaders that we've talked to all agree that hazing absolutely has no place in our military. And I think that all across the board, the different branches are really trying to address it. And yet it still happens every day. And what we're trying to do in these two cases, so one case involved a Private Danny Chin out of New York, and the other case involved Harry Liu. Both were killed or committed suicide as a result of the hazing that they had experienced. We're working with the families to try to work with the different branches of the military to make sure that adequate safeguards are in place to deter any kind of further hazing from taking place.
How can something like this be addressed? It's one thing to talk about it here at home, but when soldiers are away in Afghanistan or across the world, what type of plans, have you talked with Department of Defense, to have in place to really keep our soldiers safe?
Yes, so in our conversations with military leaders about, what concretely are some things that we could see as a good productive result as a result of these incidences. And it really comes down to leadership, right? Leadership at the highest level within the different bureaucracies to say that there is no such place. And what we would like to see is for the different branches of the military to really take a look at their policies and procedures and to put in place safeguards to make sure that if somebody is experiencing hazing, that there is an avenue for them to go and report. We know with women in the military and a number of GLBTQs in the military that as a collective we have a broad base of communities have been working really hard to ensure safety for our military personnel.
Right, and hopefully that's something that can continue. And now with Asian American History Month, can you please tell us quickly what other things are going on for this month?
Well, we've just finished off a fabulous week of celebration, bringing in lots of people into DC. In the next several weeks, we're going to be doing a lot of demographic briefings, as well as we've just finished a voter survey.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Mee Moua. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us as well. This edition of Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Tiffany McElroy. Have a great day.